Father, cried as man must cry, and prayed for guidance, just as you and I. After generations of servitude in a stranger's land, the Lord God brought the Hebrew nation into the wilderness on their journey home.
He brought his children into the wilderness, they did roam. Brought his children on through the wilderness to their home. Over the highest mountain, through summer heat, winter cold, the Lord above in heaven did guide his fold. He brought his children into the wilderness, they did roam. Brought his children on through the wilderness to their home.
The children of the Lord left the only home they had ever known and followed wherever he might lead. For the Lord had commanded, and they knew they must obey.
Faith was all they did possess.
In the wilderness, there in the wilderness. Many were the dangers and privations that the children of Israel suffered in the wilderness. But the Lord provided for them, as he does for all his children.
The Lord provideth for you and for me.
When Pharaoh found the Hebrew slaves had gone up out of the land, he gathered his armies to bring them back against the Lord's command. So the Lord opened wide the whole Red Sea to pass his people, and then, when the armies of Egypt tried to pursue, he closed it up again.
As he provided for the children of Israel, so shall it ever be. The Lord provided for you and for me.
The Hebrews wandered many days, and then one terrible dawn, their water which had been running low was now completely gone. But the Lord was there and heard their prayer and led them unto a place which had 70 palms and 12 flowing wells, that they might know his grace.
As he provideth for you and for me.
And when they reached the land of sin upon their wandering way, the Hebrew children ran out of food, and Moses bade them pray. And the Lord, ever great and quick to love the weak, oppressed, and enslaved, sent his blessing of manna down from above, and Israel was saved.
As he provided for the children of
for me. It was in the 3rd month after the Hebrews left Egypt that the Lord called Moses up to Mount Sinai and gave to him the 10 commandments by which all mankind was to be governed. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's possessions. "40 days and nights Moses remained on Mount Sinai, and his people feared he might never return. Out of fear and loneliness, they reverted to pagan ways, and when Moses did return, he found them worshiping before a golden calf.
They bowed their knees sinfully before a golden calf. A golden calf, a graven image, there in the valley of Sinai. Then Moses came and cried with shame when he saw the golden calf. The golden calf, a graven image, there in the valley of Sinai, forsaking all his truth, forgetting all his love, they broke the first commandment sent from heaven high.
And Moses was so repentant for his people that he begged the Lord to blot his name from his book. But the Lord said, "Continue on your journey, only I will no longer go before you myself, but shall send an angel to lead you." 40 long years they wandered, 40 long years they followed, 40 long years they traveled toward the promise of the Lord. 40 long years, 40 long years, they wandered, followed, traveled toward the promise of the Lord.
A man named Moses, heaven wrote his name. A man named Moses, honored me his name.
After 40 long years in the wilderness, the children of Israel came to the plain of Moab, and Moses went off to the mountain of Nebo, from whence the Lord showed him all the land he was giving to each of the tribes of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, "This is the land that I promised to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I have let you see it with your own eyes, but you shall not enter there." Home is the shepherd, home from his weary way. Home is the shepherd, home at the close of day.
In pastures of green his flock shall graze. Now he can rest at last.
Now upward to God he turns his gaze. Gone are the cares of the past. Home is the shepherd, closed is the waiting door. Home is the shepherd, sheltered forevermore.
A man named Moses, heaven wrote his name.
And so Moses died in the land of Moab. He was 120 years old, but his eye was not dimmed, and his strength had not failed him. He had led his people to the promised land, but never entered there himself, for such was the will of God. And what man was more his servant than a man named Moses? By faith he had lived, with faith he died.
A man